Mangaroos Tutoring Services, Mathematics Classes.
Time. Let's look at some quick notes on time. So 1 minute is comprised of 60 seconds. 60 minutes makes 1 hour. There are 24 hours in a day. There are 7 days in a week. Approximately 4 weeks makes 1 month. 52 weeks make 1 year. A leap year has 366 days. There are 2 types of clocks. We have the analog clock, where we have hands. The short hand is the hour hand, and the long hand is the minute hand. We will talk more about this briefly. Digital clock. This displays the time using numbers. So let's talk about telling the time. So we will talk about telling the time in 5-minute intervals. So I will now draw in the hour hand. And I will now draw in the minutes hand. So the hour hand is red and the minutes hand is blue. So the hour hand tells us that it is 11 and the minutes hand is pointing at the 1. This does not mean that it's 11:01. This entire circle for the minute hand means that it goes up to 60 minutes. So when the minute hand, let's draw it in, goes all around, it covers 60 minutes. So if the minutes hand was here, it would be 11 o'clock. If it's here, it would be 11:01, 11:02, 11:03, 4 minutes past 11, and right here, 5 minutes past 11. So each of these numbers for the minute hand means that it increases by 5 minutes. So this would be 11:05. 5 plus 5 means 11:10. 11:10. Here means 11:15 or quarter past 11. Right here would be 11:20. 20 plus 5 is 25, so that's 11:25. Right here would be 11:30 or half past 11. Right here would be 11:35, 11:40, 11:45, or we can also call this quarter to 12, 11:55, 11:55, and then when it makes one complete circle, it will go over to 12 o'clock, and the short hand will now be pointing to 12 o'clock. So we can also see it on this clock here. Try to ignore the other information inside here. If we look at the numbers on the outside, we have more details on the minutes. So we can see 11:01, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the numbers increase as we go around. 11:20, 11:30, 11:45, 11:55, 12. So every time the minute hand makes one complete circle, the time changes, it gets 1 hour later. Let's do an exercise. Write the correct time underneath each of the clock. The first one has already been done. So this one is the shorthand is pointing at 2, and the longhand, the minute hand, is pointing at 3. So we know that this is 5, 10, 15 minutes past 2. Or we can also call this quarter past 2. Quarter meaning it's completed quarter of the circle. Let's look at B. So we can see that the hour hand is pointing somewhere between 8 and 9. So would we say 8 or 9? Alright, so let me explain. So we will use the red as the hour hand. When it's 8 o'clock, meaning the hour hand is on 8 and the minute's hand is on 12, the hour hand will start here. As the minute hand goes around the circle, the hour hand will go closer and closer to 9 until it reaches 9 o'clock. So it will start here 8, 8:05, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, and then 9 a.m. So this time right now is telling us it's 8:30. If it was 9:30, then the hour hand will be between the 9 and the 10. C. So it's between the 5, the hour hand is between the 5 and the 6, and the minute's hand is on the 9. So the 9 means, so remember this is 15, 30, this is 45. So it's 45 minutes past 5. So again, remember the time will start here at 5, and then as it gets closer to 6 o'clock, it will go, the hour hand will go closer to the 6. So right here will be 5, 5:30, 5:45, 6 p.m. or a.m. So it's exactly 8 o'clock. So every time the minute's hand is on the 12, it will be the number and then 0, 0. So whether it's 8, we will say 8 o'clock. If the hour hand was pointing on the 10, we will say 10 o'clock. Let's look at another exercise. Show the following times on an analog clock. So remember, the analog clock is a clock with the hands. 7:05, it means that the hour hand will be pointing on the 7 and the minute's hand will be on the 1, which means 5 minutes. Then we have 9:15. Actually no, we are now looking at 8:30. So we are using the red as the hour hand. So this is between the 8 and the 9, so it's after 8. When the minute hand is pointing on the 6, it means 30 minutes, so that's 8:30. Next we have 3:15. So notice that the hour hand is not directly on the 3. It's a little bit off. So this would be directly on the tree, and it is a little bit this way, which means it's slowly going away from the tree. And the minute hand is pointing on the tree, which means 15 minutes. Next we have 9:15. Let's look at another one. Let's look at 2:25, this one here. So we can see for 2:25 that our hand is not directly on the 2, it's a little bit after the 2, but not on the 3. So what happens is that our hand will start on 2 when it's 2 o'clock, and as it goes closer to the 3 o'clock, it means that the minute hand is going closer to 60 minutes. So this would be 2 o'clock, 2:15, 2:30, 2:45, 3. And of course, the minute hand is on 25 minutes. Exercise 2. Write the following time in digital notation. 8 minutes to 10. This means it's 8 minutes before 10 o'clock. So what does that mean? This will be 10 o'clock. 8 minutes to 10 mean 8 minutes before 10. So it means it isn't 10 as yet, which means it's 9. It's after 9. So if we subtract 8 minutes, then we will get the correct time. How do we subtract with time? So we know that 0 cannot take away 8. We can look at this as a whole. 0 cannot take away 8. So we look at the minutes numbers as a whole. 0 cannot take away 8. So we need to borrow from the hour. So 10 take away 1 is 9. And now we carry over. We know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So we are going to carry over 60. So that is really important. Some persons make the mistake and say we borrow 1 from here and we bring across 1 here. But that means that there are 100 minutes for every hour borrowed, which would be wrong. So we add these two numbers together. 60 plus 0 is 60, and then 60 minus 8. 60 minus 8 will give us 52. And we have 0 here, 0 here, 0 here. So 9 take away 0 is 9. So the time is 9:52. They didn't specify if it was AM or PM, so we leave the time like that. Number 2, 17 minutes to 4. So when they say 2, it means before. So 17 minutes before 4 o'clock. So let's do the subtraction again. So we know it's going to be 3 something, or sometime past 3. So 4 take away 17. We can use zeros to fill the spaces. So again, we look at this as a whole. 0 cannot take away 17. So we must borrow from the 4. So 4 take away 1 is 3. And we are bringing across 60 minutes. So 60 plus 0 is 60. And then 60 take away 17. That would be 43. And here we have 3 take away 0 is 3. Number 3, 12 minutes to 6. So 12 minutes before 6, so we are simply going to take away 12 minutes from 6 o'clock. So we can start doing these mentally. So if we have 60 minutes in 1 hour, 60 minutes take away 12 minutes will be 48. So it's going to be 5:48. Number 4, quarter to 9. Quarter means 15 minutes. So 15 minutes to 9 or 15 minutes before 9. So again, we can use a shortened approach. 60 minutes take away 15 will give us 45. And if it's before 9, it means it's 8 something. So it's 8:45. 10 past 7 simply means it's 7 minutes after 10 o'clock. So that will give us 10. Do we put 7 here? No. We put 0, 7. So it's not 70 minutes, so we can't put 10, 7. If we put 10, 7, that's wrong. That would be more like 70 minutes past 10, which is not a time. The most we can have is 10:59. "20 minutes past 3, so that would be 3:20. Half past means half of the entire circle, so that will be on the 6 down here, which will mean 30 minutes. So half past means 30 minutes has passed, and it's 11, so that's half past 11, 11:30. Let's talk about fast time and slow time. So fast time means that the time is ahead of or later than the actual time. So let's say the correct time is 11:02. A fast time would be any time after that. So that can be 11:05, 11:20, 11:45. So let's continue reading here. So when given the fast time, we must subtract the amount of minutes that the clock is fast from the time in order to get the correct time. So let me give you a quick example. So let's say we have a clock telling the time 10:13, and it's 3 minutes fast. We simply subtract. 13 take away 3 is 10, so the correct time would be 10:10 to get the correct time. So now we have slow time. Slow time means that the time is behind or earlier than the actual time or the correct time. When given the slow time, we must add the amount of minutes that the clock is slow by to the time in order to get the correct time. So let me give you an example. So let's say we have a time 4:25 and the clock is 2 minutes slow. It means that we must add 2 minutes to get the correct time. 25 plus 2 is 27, so that's 4:27 is the correct time. So let's work out the two examples. Example 1. A clock tells the time 8:40 a.m. If the clock is 15 minutes fast, which tells us that it's ahead of the correct time, then what is the correct time? So if it's fast, we're going to subtract. So 8:40 take away 15. 40 take away 15 will give us 25. So that's 8:25 a.m. So normally we would need to put in a.m. and p.m. So let's look at example 2. The time is 7:25 p.m. on a watch that is 10 minutes slow. So if it's slow, it's behind or before the correct time. So what is the correct time? Remember, for slow, we must add. For fast, we must subtract to get the correct time. So slow, we're going to add 10 minutes. So 25 plus 10 is 35. So that's 7:35 p.m. Right, so these two questions are particularly interesting because, well, I'll show you all why. So a clock shows the time 11:45 a.m. If the clock is 20 minutes slow, then what is the correct time? So again, slow means we must add to get the correct time. So 11:45 plus 20. So 45 plus 20 is 65, which crosses the biggest value that we can use, which is 59. So how do we get the correct minutes? Because we can't have 65 minutes here. Well, what we must do is subtract 60. Anytime we cross 60, we must subtract 60. So by subtracting 60, we have subtracted 1 hour. So we're going to take that hour and we're going to carry it over here. So the 11 becomes 12. And the difference that we get here, 65 minus 60, is 5. So we put a 5, the remainder here, or the difference here. So the correct time is 12:05. Is it going to be AM or PM? Well, what happened is we just moved over from AM. We went forward 20 minutes, so we crossed the 12. So we got 12:05. So 11:45 a.m. is around midday, and once we reach midday, it becomes PM. So if it's morning and we cross 11, and we go over to 12, it becomes PM. If it's PM and we cross 12, it becomes AM. So this is 12:05 PM. When crossing over the 12, it changes from AM or PM, AM to PM, or PM to AM accordingly. So let's look at another question. Question 2. A clock shows the time 12:10 a.m. So that's around midnight. That's not in the middle of the day or midday. If the clock is 25 minutes fast, so when we hear that word fast, we must subtract to get the correct time. Then what is the correct time? So let's subtract. So 12:10 minus 25 minutes. So we know that 10 cannot take away 25, so we must borrow from the 12. 12 take away 1 is 11, and we are bringing across 60 because 1 hour is 60 minutes. Now we are going to add 60 plus 10 is 70. 70 take away 25. That will be 45. So we have 45 here. And 11 minus 0 will give us 11. So it's 11:45, but remember, we are going back from AM, so it's now going back to night, which is PM. Right, so remember when we're crossing over from we're going across 12, so from 11 to across over to 12, it changes the time. So we're going from 12 and we're going back to 11, it's going to change from AM to PM. So the time is 11:45 PM. Right, so you all can feel free to try these questions. You can pause the video now and try these questions. And here we have the answers. So it's really simple, similar to the ones that we did before. Right, let's look at converting from minutes to hours and then hours to minutes. So the first question, convert the following minutes to hours. In order to convert from minutes to hours, we must divide by 60. And this is because 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So let's do A. 75 minutes converted to hours, we divide by 60. So 60 into 75 is 1, remainder 15. And so we need to put it back over the denominator, so that's 15 over 60. Can we reduce 15 over 60? Yes. We can use a small number like 5, or we can say 15 into 15 is 1, 15 into 60 is 4. So the answer will be 1 hour and a quarter, or 1 1/4 hours. We can also write that as 1.25 hours. So 1 1/4 hours. Right, let's look at B. 90 minutes, sorry. Yes, 90 minutes. So we have 90 divided by 60. So we can cancel 1 and 0 on top with 1 and 0 below. 6, let's do 3 into 6 is 2. 3 into 9 is 3, so that's 3 over 2. We can say 2 into 3 is 1. Remainder 1. We're going to put that over the denominator, which is 2. So that's 1 1/2 or 1.5 hours. Oh, so I made a mistake with B. B is actually 190 minutes. So let's redo that. Sorry. So 190. This is even better. So we're dividing this by 60. So we can cancel 1 and 0 on top with 1 and 0 below. 6 into 6 is 1. 6 into 19 is 3. But we're going to have a remainder. So we get 3, remainder 1. So we're going to put that back over the denominator, which is 6. So we have 3 1/6 hours. Here's another way we can work questions like these. So we will do it with C. 250. We can try to determine how many 6 days we have in 250. So what we can do is, if we like, cancel these two zeros, 1 on top with 1 below. Actually, no, let's use another approach. How many 6 days do we have in 250? So we can count in 60s. 60, 120, 180, 240. So that's 4 hours and a remainder of 10. So that'll be 4 and 10 over 60. So that's 4 1/6 hours. So let me give you another example. If we ask how many 60s we have in 180 minutes, well, that's simply 3, because 60 by 3 is 180. The second question, convert the following hours to minutes. So part A, we have 1.5 hours. So in order to convert hours to minutes, we must do the opposite, which is multiply by 60. So 1.5, we can write that as 1.5, which is equal to, we can change this mixed number to an improper fraction. So that gives us 1 times 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. And we can multiply this by 60. 2 into 2 is 1. 2 into 6 is 3. So that's 30. 3 times 30 is 90. So that's 90 minutes. Or mins for short. Right. So let's look at C, because B is easy. 2.4. So we can convert this decimal number to a mixed fraction and then an improper fraction. So 2.4 means 2 and 4 over 10, which is the same as 2 and 2 over 5 if we divide both 4 and 10 by 2. Now we can convert this to an improper fraction. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 2 is 12, so that's 12 over 5. And then we multiply by 60 in order to go from hours to minutes. 5 into 5 is 1, 5 into 60 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144 minutes. So let's talk about elapsed time. So when we hear the term elapsed time, we can think about how long something took, how much time from a particular start time to a particular end time, or we can use the term duration. What was the duration of the football match? So all of those are more or less the same thing. How much time something took, what's the duration of an activity, elapsed time, they are all similar. So example 1, what's the elapsed time between 6:22 and 8:15? So we will say end time, which is the time the activity ended, which is 8:15, subtract the start time, which in this case is 6:22. So 8:15 take away 6:22. So immediately we can observe. So we're not going to look at the numbers individually for the minutes, we're going to look at them as a whole. So can 15 take away 22? No. So we must borrow from the hour, so that leaves us with 7. We are carrying over 60. 60 plus 15 is 75. 75 take away 22. 5 take away 2 is 3. So that's 53. And now 7 take away 6 is 1. So that's not 1:53 a.m. or p.m. That's 1 hour and 53 minutes, because we are talking about elapsed time, or how long something took, or the duration of time. So we need to write 1:53 as 1 hour and 53 minutes. Excuse. So we have a question here. What is the elapsed time between 11:47 a.m. and 3:09 p.m.? So we have more than one ways in which we can work this. We can go from 11:47 to 12 p.m., which is midday. And then from 12 to 3:09, So we can simply subtract this one here. So we know that 0 cannot take away 47, so let's borrow from the 12. So 60 minus 47 would be 13. So that's 11, take away 11 is 0, so that's 13 minutes. And now, how do we go from 12 o'clock to 3:09? Well, we can't say 3 take away 12 because that simply won't work. So that's not how we work it out. So from 12 to 3, so 12 o'clock will be the beginning of the first hour. So 12 to 1 will be 1 hour, and 1 to 2 will be another hour. 2 to 3 will be another hour. So 12 to 3, we can think about 12 as starting from 0. So 0 to 3. When it comes to PM, the 12 is like starting from 0. So 0 to 3, or 3 minus 0 is equal to 3 hours. So here we have 13 minutes, and then here we have 3 hours. So that's 3 hours and 13 minutes. So that's one way. I will now show you another way we can work it out. So we can use the time when going from AM to PM. We can use the PM time. We can write the PM time in the 24-hour clock time. So what is the 24-hour clock time? So let me briefly introduce this to you. So 12 p.m., the difference would be the PM time. So 12 p.m. is written as 1200 hours. One p.m. is written as 1300 hours. 2 p.m. is written as 1400 hours. And as we increase, let's say 5 p.m., 12 plus 5 is 17, so that's 1700 hours. At, let's say, 11 p.m., 12 plus 11 will be 23, so that's 2300 hours. So you all have the idea. So let's look at the specific question that we have. 3, we're going to add 12 to this 3, so that's 1309 hours. That's how we write it. And then let's do the entire sum like this. So the AM times remain the same, so that's 1147 hours. So we will subtract. So we still need to look at the time, the minute time, separately. So can 9 take away 47? No. So we need to borrow from the hour. So we bring across 60. 60 plus 9 is 69. And 69 take away 47 will give us 22. 12 take away 11 is 1. So that's 1 hour and 22 minutes. So the answer is 1 hour and 22 minutes. Example 3. Dimitri woke up at 6:05 a.m. He took 10 minutes to brush his teeth, 15 minutes to bathe, and half of an hour to eat and get ready for school. What time was he ready? So there is more than one approach that you can use. I will show you one of the methods. The first method is to add the times, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and 30 minutes. And then when we add those times together, then we will add it to the start time. So basically what we are doing is finding the full duration of the activities, and we are going to add it to the start time in order to get the end time. So 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and 30 minutes. 10 plus 15 plus 30, that's 55 minutes. So the start time is 6:05. 6:05 plus 55, so start time plus the duration of the activities. So 5 plus 55 is 60. Once we cross 59, so in this case 60, we need to convert it to hours and minutes. So what is 60 minutes as hours and minutes? 60 minutes is simply 1 hour. No remainders for the minutes section. So 0 for the minute section and plus 1 for the hours. So that's 7 a.m. That's your answer, 7 a.m. Question 3. Elisha traveled from Chaguanas to Sangre Grande. She entered a Chaguanas taxi at 7:55 a.m. She took 35 minutes from Chaguanas to Curepe, 25 minutes from Curepe to Arima, and finally 45 minutes from Arima to Sangre Grande. What time did she reach to Sangre Grande? So we have 3 transits. We have 35 minutes, so 3 durations, 35 minutes, 25, and 45. So let's add those times together. 35, 25, and 45. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So that's 105 minutes. So we need to convert that to minutes and hours, or hours and minutes. So we're going to subtract 60. So 105 take away 60 will give us 45. So we have 105 minutes can be converted to 1 hour because we subtracted 60 once, and 45 minutes. So the start time, remember, the end time will be the start time plus the duration. So that's 7:55 plus 1 hour and 45 minutes. So we have another addition to do here. So 55 plus 45, this will definitely cross 60. So when we do the addition, we will get 90 and 10, that's 100 minutes, which we can again subtract 60 minutes to convert it to hours and minutes. So that's 40 minutes But remember, we subtracted 60 once, so that's 1 hour and 40 minutes. So this here is equal to 1 hour and 40 minutes. So we still have the 7 and the 1 here. So basically we have 7 plus 1 is 8 hours, and we are going to add 1 hour and 40 minutes. So that will give us 9:40 a.m. Yes. Example 4. A football match starts at 9 a.m. Each half is 45 minutes. Half time is 10 minutes. So let's try to briefly understand how the time runs in a football match. So we have the first half, which is 45 minutes. Then we have a 10 minutes break. Then we have the other half, which is 45 minutes. So from here to here, we have 45 minutes. Here we have 10 minutes. And here we have 45 minutes again. So the question is, what time did the halftime start? So the match starts at 9 a.m., goes for 45 minutes, and then we have the start of the halftime. So that will be 9 o'clock plus 45 minutes. So that's simply 9:45. So then we have, what time did the match end? So right here we know it's 9:45. So we're going to add 10 minutes plus 45 minutes. 10 and 45 is 55. So we are simply adding 9:45 and 55. So we know that 45 plus 55, we can add that and we get 100. So we will subtract 60 from 100 in order to determine how many hours and minutes we have. So that's 40 minutes, but for each 60 subtraction, it's 1 hour. So this 100 minutes is 1 hour and 40 minutes. So let's rewrite this as 9 o'clock and 1 hour and 40 minutes. So that's 10:40 a.m. Question 4. Josan finished watching 3 episodes at 10:45 p.m. There were no interruptions between each episode. The episodes were watched in succession, which simply means one after the other. Each episode lasted for 25 minutes. What time did the second episode start? So let's make a quick sketch here. We have 3 episodes. 1, 2, 3. And of course, each of them will be the same length of time or same duration. So they are telling us that each episode lasted for 25 minutes and the last episode finished at 10:45. So right here, we know it's 10:45. So if we want to determine the end of the second episode, we know we go back 25 minutes. 10:45 take away 25, that will be 10:20. And what are they asking us for? What time did the second episode start? So that would be right here. So we simply have to go back 20 minutes. So 10:20 take away 20. Sorry, not 20, 25. 10:20 take away 25. So we know that 20 cannot take away 25. So we are going to borrow from the 10. So 60 plus 20 is 80. 80 take away 25 will give us 55. So that's 9:55 a.m. That's p.m. My mistake. So 9:55 p.m. the second episode started, which is also the point where the first episode ended. Here we have some practice test questions. Number 1. Aidan's alarm is 12 minutes fast. It woke him up at 7 a.m. He takes a minimum of 1 hour to get prepared before leaving for school. The school bus arrives promptly at 8 a.m. and does not wait for more than 1 minute. Explain whether or not Aidan would be able to catch the bus on time. So firstly, we can see that the alarm clock is 12 minutes fast. So, in order to get the correct time, we must subtract 12 minutes. So it woke him up at 7 a.m. So what is the actual time or the correct time that he woke up? So that's 7 a.m. take away 12 minutes. So 0 cannot take away 12, so we must borrow from the 7. We will bring across 1 hour as 60 minutes. So 60 plus 0 is 60 minus 12. 60 minus 12 is 48. 6 minus 0 is 6, so that's 6:48 a.m. So Aidan actually woke up at 6:48 a.m. He takes a minimum of 1 hour to get prepared before leaving for school. So let's add 1 hour. 6:48 plus 1 hour will bring us to 7:48 a.m. And then they said that the school bus arrives promptly at 8 a.m. and does not wait for more than 1 minute. So it means that the bus will leave at 8:01, 8 o'clock plus 1 minute for the latest. Explain whether or not Aidan would be able to catch the bus on time. So he needs to be there at 8:01 latest, but he actually is ready at 7:48. So he's definitely early. So in your explanation, you can simply write Aidan is ready at 7:48, which is earlier than 8:01. So therefore, he will be early and would be able to catch the bus on time. Number 2. Dylan woke up at 10:10 in the morning. The clock is 20 minutes slow. He took half hour to have his breakfast, 40 minutes to get dressed, and 1 3/4 hours in transport to the office. He had to attend a meeting at 1:30 p.m. By how many minutes was Dylan early or late for his meeting? So let's erase this here. So the first bit of information that they gave us was that the clock is 20 minutes slow. So in order to get the correct time, we must add 20 minutes. So 10 plus 20 minutes, 20 plus 10 is 30. So the correct time is 10:30 a.m. So we are going to add the different durations or times for all his activities. We are going to add half hour, which is 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then 1 hour and 3/4. So that's 30 plus 40 plus 1 hour and 3/4 of an hour would be 45 minutes. If we work out 3/4 of 45, sorry, 3/4 of 60, we will get 45. So let's add these together. So 40 plus 45 is 85. 85 plus 30 will be 115. So that's 115 minutes. So if we subtract 60 minutes, we are taking away 1 hour. We will get 55 minutes. So we converted the hour, the 115 minutes rather, to 1 hour and 55 minutes. So we took this part here and we converted it to this. So now we are going to add 1 hour and 55 minutes to this 1 hour here. So that's a total of 2 hours and 55 minutes. So they told us, or we worked out, that he actually woke up at 10:30. So let's add 2 hours and 55 minutes to 10:30. So 30 plus 55 is 85. So we want to convert 85 to minutes and hours. So we must subtract 60. So that will leave us with 25. So the 60 that we subtracted is 1 hour. So that's 1 hour and 25 minutes. So that's this part here. So we have 10 plus 2 is 12. So we reach from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then we are going to add 1 hour and 25 minutes. So 12 p.m. plus 1, that will bring us to 1 p.m. So that's 1:25 p.m. Some persons may say 12 plus 1 is 13 if we use a 24-hour clock method. So that's 1325 with 1325 or 1325 hours, which is the same as 1:25 p.m. So let's look at number 3. The recipe for making yam pies states to boil for 40 minutes, blend for 8 minutes, and bake for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Mom started to boil the yam at 4:50 p.m. and continued the entire process without stopping. At what time did the yam pie finish? So we have 3 different processes. We have the first of 40 minutes, 8 minutes, and then 1 hour and 10 minutes. So let's add these times together. So 40 plus 8 is 48. Then we have 1 hour and 10 minutes. So that brings us to 1 hour and 58 minutes. So of course we're going to add from the right. Okay, so 1 hour and 58 minutes, and we started at 4:50 p.m. So 50 plus 58 is 108. So let's convert 108 minutes to hours. We can subtract 60. So we will get 48. So that's 1 hour and 48 minutes. So for the hours, we have 5 hours, and for the minutes we converted this to 1 hour and 48 minutes. So let's add. So she finished at 6:48 p.m. Let's take a look at 2 calendar questions. What is the date of the 4th Sunday of the month? So they didn't tell us which month, which is okay. So we can see that the first Sunday is on the 4th, and since there are 7 days in a week, 4 plus 7 will bring us to the next Sunday, which is 11. So all we need to do is add 7 to 11, which will give us 18. So the third Sunday is on the 18th, and then 18 plus 7 is 25. So the 4th Sunday is the 25th. Next question. What day is the 22nd? So we have up until the 13th. So we can count the days until we reach the 22nd. So we can say 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and so on. What I would do is say 13 plus 7 to find this date. 13 plus 7 is 20. So right here is the 20th. Saturday is the 20th, and continue from here. 21st on Sunday, 22nd on Monday. So what day is the 22nd? We know that the 22nd is on Monday. We will now go on to a schedule question. Complete the table below. One activity doesn't have to start immediately after the other, although that's how most of the questions are. This one is a little different, so it may or may not start immediately after the other. So we have the activities here, the time that the activity starts, the time it ends, and how long it took. So how do we find the duration? Well, we must say end time, take away start time, and that will give us the duration, which is also known as the elapsed time, which is simply how long something took. So end time is 8:45, start time is 8:20, so that's a simple subtraction. 45 take away 20 is 25. 8 take away 8 is 0, so that's 25 minutes. I will put NS for short. MINS for short for minutes. Now on to chores. Chores starts at 8:45 a.m. It took 45 minutes. We need to find the end time. So the start time plus the duration will give us the end time. So 8:45 plus 45. So we need to add 45 plus 45. That will give us 90. So 90, we want to convert 90 minutes to hours and minutes. So once we cross 60, so 60 and above, we want to convert that time to hours and minutes. So we can do that by subtracting 60. So 90 take away 60 is 30. So 90 is equal to 1 hour and 30 minutes. So that really is 8 o'clock plus 1 hour and 30 minutes. So that brings us to 9:30 a.m. So remember, the question tells us that the end time is not necessarily the start time. It doesn't have to be that way. So don't just assume this is 9:30 for this question. So let's look at the given information. The end time is 10:55. The activity, the football, took 75 minutes. So we want to go back 75 minutes to get the start time. So we must say 10:55 take away 75 minutes. So let's do that. So 55 cannot take away 75. So we must borrow from the hours. And we will bring across 1 hour as 60 minutes. So 60 plus 55, we can add this easily. We will get 115 minutes. We then subtract 75. So when we do that subtraction, we will get 40. Right, so we have 40 minutes here. So it's 9:40. The activity started at 9:40 a.m. Next question. Let me erase this quickly before we begin. Right, so the next question is also a schedule question. So we have the activities and the start time and end time, similar to the question before. The schedule shows Kumar's activities on a Saturday. He takes 1 hour and 15 minutes to do his homework. So we don't have that information here. And 90 minutes for his lunch break. His class finishes at 2:30. Complete the table. So we can begin by putting in his class time finishes at 2:30. That should be 2:30 p.m. That's my error. Right. So let's begin with the homework. They said the homework takes 1 hour and 15 minutes. So in order to get the end time, we must use the start time plus the duration. So So that's 8:15 plus 1 hour and 15 minutes. So 15 plus 15 is 30. So the time would be 9:30. Next, we have the chores. Right, so we can normally assume that as one activity ends, the other one starts. So we're going to put 9:30 here, since they didn't tell us otherwise. Next, we have the lunch break. Here we can see that we have 90 minutes for the lunch break. So we have to determine the end time, which would be the start time plus the duration. So that's 11:15 plus 90 minutes. Right, so how do we write 90 minutes, or how do we add 90 minutes? Well, actually we can simply do it like this. Or we can convert it to hours and minutes first and then add it. So 90 plus 15 will be 105. So we will now convert 105 minutes to hours and minutes. So we subtract 60, so that gives us 1 hour. So that will be 45 minutes remaining. So that's 1 hour and 45 minutes. So 105 minutes is 1 hour and 45 minutes. So now we will add that to the hours. So we have the 11 hours or 11 a.m. and we are going to add 1 hour and 45 minutes. So that's easy. So that's 12:45. So we go from 11, we cross over from AM to PM. Okay, so we have the last part. They told us that the class finishes at 2:30. Okay, well then this is easy. You don't have much to do. So if the lunch break finishes at 12:45, then the class starts at 12:45. I believe what I meant to put here is how long was the class. So let's solve that. How long was the class? So 12:45 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. So one way we can work this out is by using the 24-hour clock time. So how do we write 2:30 in the 24-hour clock time? So I like to write it like this. So 12, once it's p.m. we start with 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So that's 14:30. It's normally written as 1430 hours. So I like to write it like this when solving. So 14:30 take away 12:45. So that way we can easily subtract. So 30 cannot take away 45, so we borrow from the 14, we remain with 13. We bring across 1 hour 60 minutes. 60 plus 30 is 90. 90 take away 45 is 45, so we put that here. 13 take away 12 is 1. So that's 1 hour and 45 minutes. So if we had to work out the duration, that is one way we can work it out.
Thank you for watching. If you have found this video to be helpful, please feel free to contact us for more information about our classes.